Welcome to 3 Count Commentaries. This is your host, MagMongoSlade. Today, we got to talk about Glory by Honor, the 2-night Ring of Honor extravaganza. We're going to sit here for a while, so if you're interested in Ring of Honor, we're really about to get into it. I'm actually going to pull in some of the Ring of Honor TV stuff, too. All the stuff that I can remember. I don't remember taking notes on a lot of these women's division episodes of Ring of Honor. So, we start August the 20th with Glory by Honor Night 1. So the first match, Silas Young defeats Ray Horus. I'm not going to say that much about this other than the match was, it was alright, I guess. Match 2 was a scramble match. The winner will get a spot on the top 5 for the World Heavyweight title. Mike Bennett versus Danhausen versus Demonic Flamita versus Eli Isom versus Dak Draper versus PJ Black, and the winner was Demonic Flamita defeating Danhausen. So this was an interesting match. It was just a bunch of people everywhere, flying all over the place. Flamita has been getting a pretty good push, lately. He defeated Ray Horus on ROH TV as well. So Ray Horus is basically a crash dummy for these guys lately. The rest of these guys pretty much just were thrown in here and weren't really doing much of anything, whether on TV or otherwise. I think Dak Draper is the only one of these group that got a big win recently. The third match on the show, The Allure, Angelina Love and Mandy Leon versus Veda Von Starr and Max the Impaler. Max the Impaler, I think I saw her on the women's division tournament. Big, just very weird looking. Very Mad Max-ish, which makes sense because her name is Max the Impaler. The gimmick is very heavy. I'm not a fan of Amy Rose, rather. Just something about her face just comes across like it doesn't move. It's just weird. It doesn't move, In any event, Veda Von Starr and Max the Impaler assaulted Mandy and Angelina Love post-match, which ended up with Mandy Leon being smashed through a table. It was interesting. Brian Johnson versus EC3 was the next match. EC3 wins with the Purpose, which is a grounded head and arm choke. Brian Johnson had a Liberty Bell because it was his hometown, and he just, of course, was screaming about Mecca versus everyone. Brian Johnson is just super intense and miserable. He is everything good. He's just very small. That's all. But he's very good. He's interesting. In this match, he actually pulled down EC3's knee pad for a reason I don't think ever was discovered in this match. It was a pretty good ovation for Brian Johnson too, and a good little match, but it was a little too long for me. But this was the first real match of the night, as far as I'm concerned. And then the quality of the show dipped again, where you had Mark Briscoe versus Bateman in a singles match. Mark Briscoe wins with the Froggy Bow. It was supposed to be the Briscoes, Mark and Jay Briscoe versus the Righteous, which would be Bateman and Dutch. But Jay Briscoe did not pass the COVID protocols, so the tag match was canceled and it was made one-on-one. Mark Briscoe, of course, had to deal with Dutch outside the ring, which, tended not to get in his way too much, considering he won the match anyway. After the match, Dutch and Bateman beat him up, and Mike Bennett came down there with a chair to help him. There was a tag team match, if I remember correctly, I don't know if it was maybe it was from night 2. Maybe I ought to wait till it was night 2, because I think it might have been night 2 when the tag team match happened. Now the show picks up. The show ticks up in quality and just gets better from here. Titus versus Jonathan Gresham for the Pure Championship. This match was a good sporting contest. There's no heat between these two guys because they're both in the foundation. It's just let the best man win, which is sometimes a more interesting scenario to be in than two guys who hate each other. But Titus, of course, has the charisma of dry toast. And if you're going to be a short wrestler, like I'm talking like short, like a dwarf, you need to be like Jonathan Gresham, because Jonathan Gresham is short, but he looks good and his style is realistic. So I love it. This match was great. It was only about 15 minutes. Titus used 2 of his rope breaks. Jonathan Gresham used 1. the story of the match was essentially that Red Titus was frustrated. You know, Jonathan Gresham was kind of taking it easy on him, was kind of trying to be a little too friendly. But they started this match in a very interesting way, as they both came out to the same theme song. The entire foundation came out together to show solidarity, so it was no separation between the two. And it was really good. Josh Woods was on commentary. He's the #1 contender for the Pure Championship. Will be wrestling Jonathan Gresham at Glory by Honor. So, or Death Before Dishonor, I'm sorry, because this is Glory by Honor. The finish actually came with a combination pin as they were rolling up each other. Gresham just kind of managed to cinch in on it pretty tight and got the pin. So this was the first match of the night that I thoroughly enjoyed and paid attention to. The scramble was okay, but this one really did it. The next match took it to the next level. Los Ingobernables versus Violence Unlimited in an 8-man tag. This match was nuts. So they started out with Dragon Lee and Tony Depp, and they were doing a little quick exchange between the two of them, takedowns, pop-ups and stuff like that. Everybody in Los Ingobernables were wearing yellow and black. Then Dragon Lee took off his jacket. He threw it at Tony Depp, who blew snot rockets all over it. I was like, wow. I mean, the disrespect. The fight ended up breaking down, as usual, in Los Ingobernables matches, or La Facción Ingobernables, I should say. I got to be a little bit more specific here. We're not talking about Naito and any of those guys. So, La Facción Ingobernables. If you're new to Ring of Honor, La Facción Ingobernables is Kenny King, Bestia del Ring, Dragon Lee, and Roosh, and Violence Unlimited is Tony Deppen, Homicide, Chris Dickinson, and Brody King. So the match ended up getting thrown out 2 minutes in because the two groups kept fighting and interfering and getting in the ring. Now, if you're also new to the Ring of Honor situation, and well, then I should explain. All these factions in Ring of Honor, they have different missions. They have different goals. They have different philosophies. Los Ingobernables is chaotic evil. Anything goes. Fuck the rules. They're gonna beat up whoever they want. They're gonna do whatever they want. Violence Unlimited is very similar. They believe that there is honor in violence, and that you should, that the rules shouldn't be so rigid, and that as long as two sides agree to throw everything at each other, then that's really how things should be. So these were like natural enemies as far as groups fighting in Ring of Honor. And because Violence Unlimited completely believes in fighting fire with fire. So the referee threw it all out. Everybody was fighting. It was disqualifications all over the place. Roosh demanded that the match be restarted with no disqualifications. Brody King agreed, and everybody started fighting again. The referees, of course, let it go. And then we had a solid 8-man tag with just guys everywhere. It was impossible to keep track of this kind of stuff. Only thing I didn't like about this match was that Dragon Lee and Tony Deppen at one specific point in this match was just German suplexing each other. And they were trading German suplexes, where it was like Dragon Lee would suplex Deppen, he would no-sell it, and then suplex Dragon Lee, who would no-sell it, and then suplex him. It was just like, okay. I mean, I remember when the German suplex was a really cool move. Now people do 100 of them and they don't mean anything anymore. It's become like the DDT, The German suplex has become like the clothesline. It's become like the DDT. It's become like, a move that people just do. It doesn't mean anything anymore. That fucking sucks, because I used to love the German suplex. But Violence Unlimited wins the match, with Bestia del Ring being pinned by Brody King. Brody King is getting a big push here lately for the last several weeks. Shane Taylor of Shane Taylor Promotions was on commentary. His team, Shane Taylor Promotions, it's 4 of them as well, but they're the 6-man tag team champions, meaning they're basically the trios tag team champions. They really don't have a defined reason for being, other than it's just 4 black dudes who had a chip on their shoulder, while Los Ingobernables are 4 Mexicans and the other 2 groups are 4 white guys. Well, no, because half of the foundation is black and half of the foundation is white. So that's very interesting that they really have racially segregated these groups, and I didn't notice it until I just started talking about it just now. That all of Los Ingobernables is Mexican except Kenny King. He's black. Half, like I said, half of the foundation is white, half is black. And Violence Unlimited has one Mexican, which is Homicide. Or is he Puerto Rican? I think he's Puerto Rican. But this was a really good match. I really enjoyed this no disqualification, La Facción Ingobernable, I should say, and Violence Unlimited joint. It was great. And La Facción Ingobernable attacked Shane Taylor after the match. So I'm guessing they're the next guys for the 6-man tag team championships. That ought to be fun, because we finally get some opponents for Shane Taylor Promotions without them wrestling guys that have been thrown together. The main event with EC3 on commentary, Flip Gordon versus Bandito. This match ruled. You know, I don't think it's fair to call it for the world heavyweight title, because neither one of these guys are heavyweights. Bandito is a lot like Jonathan Gresham, is that he's small, compact, but he's strong. He's also a luchador, so he works both fast, but he has a little bit of a natural strength to him. Flip Gordon is a lot more technical. He's also very fast and durable, and so this was a really good match. Flip Gordon did a springboard tornado DDT that looked absolutely tremendous. I don't know if it fit in this match or not, but it absolutely fit. It was tremendous. There was no real heat between the two of them going in. Flip Gordon had been the #1 contender for a while, and really he was just sitting back waiting for this title shot. That was about it. Like, there was no real heat between these two people. It was just kind of like Flip Gordon was on the schedule, and Bandito, who just won the title, had to meet that requirement. So Bandito wins with the 21-plex, which is his weird version of the German suplex, where he bounces off the ropes. I hate it because it's unnecessary. I wish he would get he uses like a lot of really cool moves that could be finishers. I don't know why the 21-plex, which is like the 619, where you have to be in the ropes in order for it to look the way it's supposed to look, but it's silly. After the match, EC3 wanted to shake hands with Bandito because EC3 thinks he's the #1 contender or in the top contendership spot. This led Brody King to come out and say that he was next and that EC3 needs to, F off. Those two fought outside the ring because Brody King got in EC3's face. Bandito was just kind of like watching, minding his own business as those two guys fought outside the ring, which led him open for Flamita, who jumped him from behind and beat him down. If you're new to Ring of Honor, this is the first time you've ever listened to it, then Flamita and Bandito used to be partners with Ray Horus. Used to be called Mexi Squad. But Flamita decided to turn heel, say fuck the Mexi Squad, and decided to be himself, which has been an absolute dork. And he got, not even a dork, he's just an asshole. He's a well-puckered anus, this Flamita. He's not a good guy, and he wears lipstick, which is not good. In any event, he beat the tar out of Bandito when he had his back turned, which is perfect for Flamita. He's dedicated his life to beating up his old friends, Bandito and Ray Horus. All right, so that was the end of night 1. The last 3 matches of night 1 were very, very good, but I do believe that night 2 was better. Glory by Honor, night 2, August the 21st, 2021. The first match, Danhausen loses to Dalton Castle via the Bangarang. Dak Draper and the boys were outside the ring being a distraction. Dak Draper had started hanging out with Dalton Castle after Dalton Castle helped him win a triple threat match it was the 3 of them with Eli Isom. So it was Dak Draper versus Dalton Castle versus Eli Isom in the triple threat match. Dalton Castle basically threw the match away to help Dak Draper win, and now Dak Draper is hanging out with Dalton Castle. This was absolutely silly and stupid because it involves Danhausen. This was our sports entertainment match of the night. I hated it so much. The next match was the world famous CB, otherwise known as Cheeseburger, versus LSG in a pure rules match. LSG used up all of his rope breaks. World famous CB only used 1. LSG won the match, though, with the Rockabye Baby. I find him to be very, very boring. I cannot stand LSG. He is super boring. All right, this is what I was talking about because Quinn McKay went to talk to Mark Briscoe. And this is what Quinn tells Mark that Jay can't perform. and that he needs to find a new partner for his tag team match tonight. And he chooses Brian Johnson, which is hilarious because he chose him because Brian Johnson was muttering in the back and being exceptionally miserable and full of shit at the time. He says, "You ain't got no match?" He's like, "No, I don't have a match." "You ain't got no match." And then he chopped him, even though he's wearing a shirt. He said, "You book, boy." And that was that was it. So Mark Briscoe and is going to team up with Brian Johnson later. They would lose to Flamita and Flip Gordon. Or they would defeat Flamita and Flip Gordon because I think Flip Gordon was left alone. Flamita basically just took off on him, I believe. Yeah, Brian Johnson also walked off on Mark Briscoe. So, like, it turned into a singles match because their partners walked away. And Briscoe just beat Flip Gordon. So, this was, it was, it was solid. Like, it was not the best match in the world. Flamita and Flip Gordon could definitely do better. But that was match 5, and I was on match 3. Match 3 is Miranda Alizé and Roxy versus Chelsea Green and Willow. This was one of the few times I've seen Willow. I've seen her in the ROH tournament. She's very big and jolly, or what I call a tugboat scenarios, where you just don't want to be big and jolly, man. You don't want to be like early days Mark Henry. That's not interesting. But at the same time, I mean, every time a big girl comes on the screen, she can't beat Awesome Kong, right? Miranda Alizé is, oh boy. If I wasn't already on Team Simp Tony Storm, I would probably be simping Miranda Alizé. She is super cute. Jesus, she's cute. Roxy, I think I've seen her in Reality of Wrestling. I also saw her on the women's division thing. So I've seen all these women before. So that was very interesting. But Miranda Alizé, boy, whoo boy. If you're like, you're sexualizing her, yeah, I am. She's cute as hell, dog. Get over it. The fourth match, Shane Taylor Promotions versus Incoherence. Incoherence is Hollow Wicked and Frightmare and Delirious, and they were with Ultramantis Black. And none of those words made sense to me either, because I'm not a fan. I googled this guy, this Ultramantis Black, and all these guys. Outside of Delirious, I've never seen either one of these guys before, because I am not that much of a wrestling nerd that I've ever watched Chikara. So if you watch Chikara, for starters, have sex. Secondly, go to the gym. Shane Taylor Promotions defeated Incoherence with the Marcus Jarvie driver. And the match was actually solid near the end. There was a couple of big spots in here that I thought were pretty cool. There was a move they called the Headless Horseman, which is where I believe it was Hollow Wicked. It was on Frightmare's shoulders, or it might have been the other way around. And he grabbed, I think it was Shane Taylor off the top rope in a diamond cutter. But he was up in a doomsday device type of situation. So it was like Hollow Wicked was on Frightmare's shoulders, or however that went. So I thought that was pretty cool. I was like, man, they should have won with that. Like you do something crazy like that, they should win. But of course they lost because these guys were just brought in to wrestle Shane Taylor Promotions. There's nothing special here. So post-match, EC3 confronted Shane Taylor, basically just stared at him and didn't say anything. Shane Taylor, flashed him the belt and jawed at him a little bit. While he was on commentary, all EC3 would say was that, the Ring of Honor World Title was his destiny. I mean, it is what it is. They throughout this thing that kept seeing Honor Pals commercials. Honor Pals are basically wrestling buddies. So if you remember the wrestling buddies from the early 90s in the WWF, where you had like Ultimate Warrior and Ted DiBiase and Hulk Hogan and stuff, Randy Savage. I had Ultimate Warrior one personally when I was a kid. Then they now make Ring of Honor versions. So that's really cool. I wish WWF or the WWE still made them. I don't understand why they ever stopped making them. Those things are fucking cool, especially for children. They want to be able to beat up Stone Cold Steve Austin. You give them a wrestling buddy, they could drop elbows on them. Like, come on, Vince, what the fuck? Anyway, moving on. Kenny King joins us for commentary as Violence Unlimited goes in an 8-man tag against the Foundation. The Foundation, for those of you who don't know, Jay Lethal, Jonathan Gresham, Rhett Titus, and Tracy Williams. This is, I think, Tracy Williams' first match back after his car accident, which everybody thought his career was going to be over afterwards. So glad to see that he was okay. The Foundation won this match with the lethal injection on Tony Deppen. The Foundation's whole thing is the rules. Everybody stays within the rules. And the rules matter. That this is wrestling. This is not fighting. This is not brawling. You know. So obviously, Violence Unlimited wanted to be nuts and, you know, really start some drama. And the Foundation wanted to keep the structure of the match together. But this match was really fun. You know, I really, really, really liked this match. This match ruled. After the match, Brody King delivered his famous Gonzo bomb on Jay Lethal a couple of times, and Homicide hit the cop killer on Rhett Titus. Basically, even after the match, Violence Unlimited decided to beat the tar out of the Foundation because fuck them, why not? On the mic, Chris Dickinson says that no pure wrestler can stand against them, despite the fact that they lost this match. And they said that he called them trash, and said that they wanted to challenge the pure wrestlers from the past, the present, and the future, and that there is honor in violence. So this is going to be very good. I'm guessing Chris Dickinson will probably be stepping up to fight Jonathan Gresham eventually. So that ought to be fun. So this next match ruled harder, but Bandito and Rey Horus versus Roosh and Dragon Lee. This match ruled. Fuck all of these luchadors, man. This shit was awesome. The story of this match is essentially that Dragon Lee respects Bandito. Bandito had defeated Roosh for the world title, and Roosh, of course, is very upset about it. Dragon Lee is like, well, I respect you, but you know, this is my big brother. I gotta defer to him. So Roosh was being very domineering in this match, really pushing Dragon Lee around, and Dragon Lee was just kind of going along with it because, you know, why not? But these guys went out there and killed it. You know, Silas Young was on commentary, basically telling us how Rey Horus is trash and he doesn't belong. He doesn't belong in Ring of Honor. He doesn't, and this was crazy. He had already beaten this guy. I mean, I don't see why he's still feuding with him. The match ends with Roosh defeating Rey Horus with the bull's horns. This match was fun. Go watch it if you can. You know, if you have Honor Club or whatever, go watch this. The main event was ruled hard too. I mean, can't go wrong. Steel cage match. Matt Taven versus Vincent. These two have been feuding for over a year. And this was the first cage match in Ring of Honor in 7 years. So they had not had a cage match in Ring of Honor in 7 years. Mike Bennett was on commentary because he was in the OGK with both of these guys, the original Kingdom. And this is, you know, the end of that. But this match was probably my favorite Matt Taven match. And Matt Taven is literally nothing to me. You know, I do not like Matt Taven. I do, however, like Vincent. They fought outside the ring because the cage was janky. When they got to the cage, the door was off the hinges. I mean, like leaning off the hinges. Like the hinges looked busted. So when Taven came to the ring, Vincent jumped him and they fought outside the ring while they fixed the door. It was a hell of a match, man. They had a hell of a match. You know, a couple of very high spots with Taven making some good jumps. There was some barbed wire in this thing. You know, each member of the Righteous brought a weapon as they came down to help Vincent. Veda Von Starr brought some thumbtacks. She ended up getting backdropped into the thumbtacks because she jumped in the ring of her own volition. Bateman brought barbed wire. He looped the barbed wire between the ropes. Not between the ropes, but between the cage. He was on the outside, of course. Mike Bennett left commentary to beat him up so he wouldn't get in the ring. And I believe Dutch brought tables. And he ended up getting put through the tables, I believe, or was the table set up by Vincent and Taven before he got there. But, you know, there was just a lot of stuff going on, man. There was blood from both guys. Matt Taven used an axe, which is like the craziest thing I've seen in a match. Like, why would you ever need an axe? And he didn't do anything with it but gently put it on his head and rub it back and forth. So it wasn't like anything wild happened with the axe, but he had a purple axe. So that was fucking cool, right? It was a little too much, but Ring of Honor doesn't always go there. So ended up working out really good. These two guys had a hell of a match, man. And my favorite two spots was the finish, which was I think a diamond cutter from the top rope. But my favorite is when Vita Von Star went through the tax, because Ian Riccaboni just screamed out, "God damn it!" That was my favorite. That was great. That felt like a real reaction. Like he did not see it coming, and he had nothing to. He had no. That was such a real reaction, man. It was so genuine that I loved it. It was like, God damn it! As soon as she went up in it, as soon as she got backdropped onto the thumbtacks, he was so mad. Okay, so Vincent is now the #1 contender for the world title, and but he will not be wrestling the world champion at Death Before Dishonor. I forgot who will. Well, he might be wrestling for the title at Death Before Dishonor. I don't think it's been announced yet. So this was a really, really, really good pair of shows. I enjoyed them. I usually enjoy Ring of Honor. And the sad thing to me is that Ring of Honor is never taken into account as a company that people can go and put in some really good work and do great things. Like everybody, when they leave, I'm not talking about like Adam Cole or anything like that, because he's already spent like a bulk of his time in Ring of Honor. But there's a lot of guys, man, who could probably benefit from going to ROH more than going to AEW or even Impact. It just sucks that Ring of Honor is never on anybody's list as a stop point where they could, make some money and ply their trade. Like I was really, really pushing for Andrade to join ROH because Roosh and Dragon Lee are here in this promotion. And I figured like he could always have fun with his friends and La Facción and Gobernable. But of course, the money of AEW, of course, is too sweet. Just like, the NXT money was too sweet. But hopefully we see some of the NXT releases jump ship to AEW. Well, I'm sorry, jump ship to Ring of Honor and bring some fresh blood in. I'm glad to see that I believe there is a Death Before Dishonor match that will be featuring two recently released WWE talent. I'm thinking one of them may be Buddy Murphy. But I've also heard that he's probably going to end up going to Impact. But I'm still very interested, And I try to keep Ring of Honor and NWA alive, man. Because I know that these promotions are struggling due to NXT and AEW having big budgets and being able to spend cash. And now MLW is out there spending cash too. So Ring of Honor is slowly but surely dying out as they can't produce talent in the dojo quick enough to maintain itself. But they've done a really great job of bringing in those luchadors. And the luchadors have become the core of Ring of Honor. And I love it, The 7 or 8 luchadors that they brought in have really been doing a great job of carrying the brand and pushing the brand forward. And it's really good. And hopefully they can bring in some more, or they can find some guys who are on the independents. And, it's difficult to get any big stars to come to Ring of Honor because it's a smaller promotion, even smaller audience and everything. It's a horrible feedback loop. Like once you get seen as a small promotion, nobody ever goes there. Therefore, you never really grow. And that's kind of what Impact has been going through since they shrunk several years back. It's never been a place that people can go and feel like, they can help grow the brand. They want to go somewhere where it's already built, where the money is already made, where the buildings are already full. They can get big paychecks. They don't want to go and build anything. They want to go and benefit. But hopefully, I've heard a lot of I saw some chitter chatter about FTR potentially leaving AEW They also did some jaw jacking with the Briscoes. And it's like, man, I cannot. You don't have no idea. Like, I'm not even a mark for just matches or even tag team matches. But how badly I want to see the Briscoes versus FTR and to see them have a series of matches. And I know that Ring of Honor will run it several times. Unlike, the Young Bucks match, where I think they only did it once, maybe did it twice, and that was it. Ring of Honor would give them like a real run. And then there's other teams for them to work with too. And Ring of Honor actually cares about tag team matches. And that's why I say it's a shame that Ring of Honor is not looked at as being important enough for people to cover on their YouTube channels or their blogs or anything like that. They pass it by very fast. They don't really, put forth the effort. And I know, because the TV isn't the best. It's mostly matches. There's no wild angles. Nobody's singing. Nobody's dancing. Nobody's setting anybody on fire. There's no big returns. There's nothing like that. So I get it, but maybe Ring of Honor need to jump in there once or twice. Try to snag some big stars, and let's see if somebody can build something there. But this has been MongoSlade doing a report on Glory by Honor, Night 1 and Night 2. What did you think if you watched the show? Like this video, share this video, subscribe to the channel, donate to the channel to help the channel grow, and so I can continue to cover smaller promotions like Ring of Honor and Impact and NWA, which, still take time even if there's not a lot of material. And I'll talk to you guys later, man. Peace out.
Old non-aggression. Once that lesson sets in, you'll see a session, but you got an affection for no progression, regression.